call the meeting to order. It's our regular city council meeting for Tuesday, December 17th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bembas?
Here.
Mr. Blair?
Here.
Mr. Gillis?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Meldrum? No answer. Mr. Scarback? No answer. Mayor Stoneburner?
Here.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Scarback and Mrs. Meldrum not present.
I make a motion to excuse Helen Meldrum due to illness. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Jacob Scarback.
You have to have a reason.
He's on vacation, I apologize.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, next, we'll take a moment of silent prayer, and at this time, if you please keep the family of John Woods in mind. Mr. Woods was our Citizen of the Year in 1990 in the city of Algonac, and he was a long-time Citizens First, I believe it was called the bank, senior vice president, belonged to Algonac Rotary, the Downriver Commission, and several other organizations. So please keep his family in mind too, as we take a moment of silent prayer. If everyone would please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda. Tonight we have a presentation, a welcome home presentation that will be presented by Councilman Bembas.
Please have Dr. Van and Tammy come on up. Good seeing you. Welcome Home Award for Physical Therapy and Balance Center. And if you've noticed, they're at 329 Columbia, Suite B. Physical Therapy and Balance opened in September 2019. They focus on improving quality of life using a holistic, full-body approach to connect the diagnosis with a customized care plan. They treat people of all ages and a variety of muscle, joint, and neurological conditions, and I'll probably need to go in there for my fingers. They specialize in orthopedic pain, immobility, things like arthritis, surgical rehab, neck and back, cervical pain, low back pain, pediatric injuries, geriatric injuries, carpal tunnel, joint replacements, shoulder and elbow injuries, tendon and ligament injuries, rotator cuff, foot and ankle, knee, muscle weakness, and overuse injuries. And TMJ disorders, and the T stands for some long word, so I'm gonna leave it at TMJ. But welcome to Algonac. It's good to see you guys again. You've already been a good part of our community. And it's good to see you and introduce you to everybody. Do you have anything, any comments you'd like to give the crowd, or?
Thanks for having me. The physical is spelled like F-Y-Z-I-C-A-L. It's spelled different. The reason because we are different. So the only thing I can say that we are not like a assembly line. We spend time with the people. You can talk to anybody who comes here. We have great reviews. We spend at least 30-40 minutes with each every one-on-one. And then one more thing, like when I moved to the Algonac, I was looking for growing the business. And then I brought my wife one day. She's a physically challenged person. I brought my wife one day. She said, "Honey, can you buy a house here?" I promised her at least I buy a cottage for her to move in first. So when I moved in for within a year, I made my mind. I will talk, I'll be planning buying a house to move here. Now, not nearly, but very soon. Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Welcome to Algonac. Everybody come on down so we can get a picture.
No, I'm just kidding. We kind of know each other a little bit.
All right, everybody, cheese.
Cheese.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to go over there after.
And afterwards is
Yes,
open
sir,
house,
yes.
so everybody please take a minute and go afterwards, 329 Club.
We'll be there, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we will have our public comment section. Please keep in mind that you're allowed 5 minutes. State your name and where you live. And we will not be responding to comments, but we definitely listen to them.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Theodoro. I'm a resident in Algonac, 847 Ruskin Drive. I thank you for giving me time today to say a few words about the proposal that's on the agenda tonight for the engineering services of the city. I moved to Algonac in 2015, and I did it primarily because I work here. I work for Project Control Engineering, and so your decision tonight on if you will terminate our firm as your engineers will directly impact me and my family. I have 2 kids. They're at Algonquin, 9-year-old and 10-year-old, and so it'll affect me directly. The proposal on the agenda indicates that the firm being considered to replace us is from Bloomfield Hills. And that proposal says they'll have a term of January of 2020 to December of 2022, which exactly lines up with the duration of the $1 million SAW grant, which the city is about to be awarded by the state. But the history of that SAW grant is that was my company, Project Control Engineers, who researched and helped the city to get that grant back in 2013. Sometimes it's been posed why Algonac was on the bottom of the list of communities in the state to be awarded. And a big part of that was because initially the city administration was reluctant to go out for that grant. And it was thanks to my company and our pursuance of that we were able to get the grant submitted for the cutoff date, which was December 13th of that year. So luckily Algonac was included. And then it was a lottery after that on how they got selected. Given the historical context, it would be fair, or would it not be fair, to eliminate PCE from the fruits of the labor of getting that SAW grant for the city? How will that money that's desperately needed in the city, that's strapped for money, best serve the local residents? We have over a dozen employees and their families who work for Project Control Engineering. So the loss of that and sending that to Bloomfield Hills would not keep that here in the community. Perhaps when the city no longer has that $1 million, they may no longer be able to afford such a firm like Bloomfield Hills has. So that's something else to consider. It would be understandable to say that would be a decision if PCE wasn't qualified to undertake the SAW grant. However, that's simply not the case. We completed the $1 million SAW grant in Elvira Township in 2018 successfully, and we actually got a commendation of that by DEQ because it was so well performed. In addition, we are completing another $1 million SAW grant for the city of New Baltimore. Both of those communities are larger in population than Algonac. New Baltimore is as sophisticated or more in terms of its roads and the different components of the grant. Furthermore, I could say that it's been argued that the city needs to make progress, and that progress is the kind of mantra, and that ushering in the progress could be done by a bigger firm somehow. But in reality, that's more of a fallacy. A big firm, you're gonna get a project manager or two. They're gonna be, you know, with the same education level. I have a master's degree in civil engineering, so they probably will even have less of an education than I have. And they are professional engineers. I'm licensed in the state of Michigan and Alaska. So, you know, it would be hard pressed to say that putting your two project managers of that big firm against ours, that we would lose. With that in mind, also, the big companies come with big overhead costs. And so, one way that they find a way to offset that is to pass it on to their customers. Therefore, I could see easily that, the cost of them would exceed the cost of us. So what you're really just getting is, the same number of skilled professionals, but at a higher price. And that's not exactly in the best interest of the city, is in my mind, as a resident. And so, you know, companies like ours and small communities are really a diamond in the rough. And it's really impossible to imagine small communities having a firm such as ours that is able to do the things that we do, actually stay here. But we're committed to the city, and we would hope that the city would
Pardon
remain
me, Mayor.
committed to
Time's
us.
up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Good evening, I'm John Monty from Project Control Engineering. I'm the owner. I started the business here 26 years ago. I grew up in this community, raised my kids here, was on the planning commission here in Algonac actually for some time. So I'm well rooted in this community. As you can imagine, we want to continue our relationship with the city. Despite the recommendation that you have in your packet, we have a little something, though, a couple of things that we've heard through the process, whether it be rumor or whatever it was about our services or what we did, we wanted to make sure that we address those to you so that we could answer a few of those questions, because we've had people ask us about them throughout the course of this interview process. They're very simple, there's nothing elaborate here, but if there's something more that you need, let us know. We think that we can do everything that HRC can do. In fact, we're gonna do it better. And the reason that we are is because we're rooted here. This is our hometown, and we care about it. That's all the difference in the world. Something else that's indicated in the packet is that it may not be the cheapest firm. Well, I think you'll see that if you turn to page 2 there that I have. What I did is I applied their design fees to the projects that we did over the last 5 years, and you'll see that the savings difference by using us was $130,000. That's huge. They also say they don't charge for travel time. Absolutely, for a meeting, that's for sure. But for your survey crews and for all the work that has to take place for the SAW grant, for the flow monitoring, all the inspections that need to be done, you can be assured that the survey crews will be charged from their office, which is certainly at least an hour's drive from here. So if you add that in with their higher rates, the actual hourly rates, along with even the travel time that you will be charged for that, you'll be paying at least a 20% premium daily for their services. I'd also like you to just kind of meet the families. Can you guys get up? This is us. We have 18 people that work for us. 12 of them live Algonac, Clay, and Lakeland. Here's the whole. These people live, breathe, and sleep this place. They support you, they buy their fuel here, they buy their groceries here, they raise their kids here. They're all part of the community. So what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, is there anything that's insurmountable that has happened with us over the last 12 years that we've been serving you that you feel has been detrimental? What is so crushing here that we couldn't continue to be your engineering firm? Is it really worth the additional money? Is it gonna be worth sending this $1 million grant that you have to Bluefish Hills, do they need the money? Is it something that this money could be well spent here supporting this community? And if the, the easy way out here is to just say, well, our city manager went through this process and we gotta respect her recommendation and just go along with it. But I don't really buy that. I think that's a poor excuse. I think what you need to do is look at the decision yourself and determine what is best for Algonac. What is best for your people right here? Let me read something that's on your website. We are so excited to welcome businesses to Algonac family. Our neighborhood is our home, and we have a stake at what goes on here. If we can support and help and affirm one another, we can make a difference. In a small way, it can make life better for all of us. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, I got something to say real quick.
Yeah, can I say something?
See us
I'll be
first.
real quick.
No.
How you guys doing? My name's Kevin. I do the T-beam for the sewers and sanitary. I don't live around here. I live in Clinton Township, but I grew up in Marine City. My parents live in Algonac. My brothers went to school in Algonac. So this town has my interest, and hope I can see you guys soon out on your streets, taking care of what's got to be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Yes, you may.
I'm Robert Monty.
Could you please come up to the podium, please, so we can hear you better? Some of us.
I brought my family into this community because I love this community. I built 32 homes on Summer and Hour. I done your water treatment plant coming into the city here, into the tower. I've been here in business. I have businesses here, pay taxes here. And we've done everything for this community. I was on the boards with Mr. Jamie, with the school board, to try and help this community out. And I can't believe what is happening here. We have a business that employs engineers here, and they're one of the best engineers in this state. I don't care what anybody says, and the reason why I can tell you that, I've done construction work in all the states, from here all the way to the coast. I worked for Hubble Roth and Clark, Spalding Decker, with my construction company. They're all good companies, nothing wrong with them. But we live here. This is our home. We pay taxes here. Why would we ever want to move one of our own people out of here and bring a firm 50 miles from here into here when you can make a phone call and whoever runs this place can get them here in 5 minutes? Now, that doesn't make sense to me. And I know you people do a good job here. I have no complaint. I've never come into this place and ever complained about anything. Okay? You see me shaking here because it bothers me that this happened. I'm very proud of those people sitting back there. So, please, do not remove my family from this community. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? All right, we'll continue on with our meeting then. At this time, we'll have our city manager's report. Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Stoneburner. 2 things this evening. Once again, the leaf vacuum was down for about a week. The repairs were completed. DPW did work all weekend. Leaf vacuuming, they have been continuing every evening doing leaf vacuuming, and they will continue until the leaves are cleaned up, weather permitting. Also sandbags, I'm gonna say this every meeting, the St. Clair County Emergency Management has recommended that all sandbags and water diverter tubes remain in place throughout the winter. Not only could the ice jams cause flooding, but water levels are expected to rise again in the spring, so please do not remove your barriers to the water. That's all, thank you.
Thank you. I do know that the leaf vac was out last night, very, very late.
Yes.
Hours after dark, and we appreciate all that they're doing and understand that between weather and breakdowns, it hasn't been our best season for leaf gathering. So appreciate all their help though.
Thank you.
Next is our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve our consent agenda, which includes our city council minutes for December 3rd, 2019, our departmental reports, which include blight enforcement, building, DPW, finance, fire department, library, and the water department, and our communications and notices, which includes boards and commissions roster, housing commission meeting minutes for October 21st, and housing commission meeting calendar for 2020.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we've approved our consent agenda. We have no old business, so we'll go into our new business. And first up, we are being asked to approve a consulting agreement for engineering services. The best practice in business and in several industries is to put contracts out for bid every 3 to 5 years to make sure our vendors are delivering competitive pricing and quality services. And our current engineering contract has been in place for, or since 2007. I know working in education and being an administrator, we regularly go out for bids and do it on a regular basis just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And sometimes our needs change, and as our needs change, we needed to do that. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the consulting agreement for engineering services between the city of Algonac and Hubble, Roth and Clark for the period of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2022, with 1 year option to extend the term. Shane.
Do we have a second? Hearing no second,
I'll support.
all right, at this time we'll have discussion.
Well, one thing that was brought up just now was the 3 to 5 years. And I've looked at Hubble, Roth, and Clark's portfolio they gave us. And I see 26 years, 55 years, 49 years, 47, 49, 23, 26. And that's just a few of the communities they've served, the years that they've served them for. So I'm not so sure how that holds up as a reason. I think we should get more information. I do see some bit of fee schedules. I'd like to see more about the submittals from the firms. I'd like to know the scores as they existed. And I'm gonna ask that we postpone this so that council could be more informed until our next meeting of January 7th.
Ray, I agree completely what you're saying. This is not a decision that I think we should take lightly. I think that more information is gonna have to be given to us before we can make a conscious decision on this as well.
If we have a proposal for a postponement, does that take precedence over what we have on the table right now?
As I looked on the internet, tabling was not the procedure, but a postponement with a fixed date, such as the next meeting, would be appropriate.
would it be appropriate to go to the following meeting if we did something like that? Or does it have to be the next one, because we have the holidays?
According to what I see,
It needs to be the very next meeting?
the next
Okay.
meeting,
You can-
scheduled meeting.
Mayor Stoneburner,
Yes,
yeah, from what I understand, you can postpone it to a date certain. There's no way you're gonna get more information for the January 7th meeting because the deadline is next Monday to get the packets together because of the holidays, so
Mhm.
January 7th would not work.
But I think anybody on council who has an interest for information should be able to come in and get, as an individual, and get,
At any time.
and educate themselves before you make your final decision.
Absolutely, all the information has been available to council for 3 weeks now, so absolutely.
This is something, you know, I know when we deal with employees, we can go closed door, but I don't know if this is, the same thing, because they're not employees of the company.
No.
is this something, do we vote on this, the postponement, because that,
Well, you have a motion on the floor right now.
Well, you would, the way I read it, we could vote on, you can discuss the postponement, you can vote on the postponement.
because that supersedes the first motion that was made, is that correct? Following Robert's rules?
I believe we would have to vote on the first motion and then vote to postpone.
That would be my understanding also. Ray, what kind of exact information are you looking for?
Well, I've just suggested, and I'm gonna tell you, Sunday night, I did not sleep at all over this. And my mind just kept doing spins. And, I just, like I said, the submittals from each, you know, do we know what was submitted by PCE?
Well, we actually have four bids were submitted, but 3 of them we could look at because one did not include the SAW grant information.
Right.
So we really have 3 things to look at.
And the scores.
Mhm.
So you're looking for a breakdown of the scores, is what you want, as well as a breakdown of the fee schedule, is what I'm hearing.
Well, the submittal, yeah, what was submitted by the firms. And whatever else, I mean, it's open for, because I think all of us need to have questions probably answered after this discussion. Maybe not, you know, but after what you've heard.
I would agree with tabling it. Part of the reason I supported was to open the discussion. Postpone.
Postpone.
I would agree with the postponement. Part of the reason why I opened was to open the discussion. And we were presented with new information tonight that we did not have prior.
The, just to let the audience know, is that we weren't able to discuss this engineering service contract at all until a motion was made and it was seconded. That opens up the time that we can talk about it. Mrs. Belkey, did you find out at Dewey?
You have to vote on the motion that's on the floor.
Okay. All right. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Blair?
I'm sorry, can we, read the motion again, please?
The motion was basically to accept the bid from Hubbell Roth and Clark. So if we're gonna postpone it, we would have to.
No.
vote.
Mr. Gillis?
No.
Mr. Martin?
No,
Mayor Stoneburner?
No.
Okay, motion fails.
Okay, so we need to make a motion to
Postpone.
until a specific date.
My question
which is our next meeting, it's to be the next meeting, which will be January 7th.
My question to you, Denise, bid packs up, you said on Monday, so if we postpone until our next meeting, is that going to?
Then,
That's not enough
We
time.
can table it till whenever, is my understanding.
Either the last week in January or
the
the first
second
week
meeting
in
in
February.
January is January 21st.
We wanna go, is is that easier for you to get the
Because of the
information?
holidays, all of the packet information is due on Monday.
Okay.
So that means if you have any questions and you want it on the 7th, you'd have to come in tomorrow, Thursday, or Monday to get all of your questions answered.
Okay.
So if that gives you enough time,
Go ahead, Mike, I know what you're going for.
Yeah,
Probably-
I'll make a motion that we review this, approval for January 21st meeting.
I support.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we will have this back at the table on the 21st of January.
And we're basically looking, I just wanna make sure I understand, so that we're on the same page and the people out there, that we're wanting a breakdown of how each company was rated.
That's something I'm
Okay,
looking at.
as well as the fee structure breakdowns, just so we're all on the same page.
Well, this should be your opportunity to ask anything that comes up in your mind to make your confident decision on the 21st.
I have a question, if I may. Is there anything against our Robert's rules if we, as a council, would meet behind closed doors and discuss this as a council? Or is that,
It's the
No,
open
you
meeting.
can't.
We can't do that.
just wanted to verify so we don't give ourselves a trip back, okay, thank you.
We could come in separately, no more than, what, 3 people at a time to do that. We might want to do something like that, but we cannot all meet together.
Fair enough.
And in general, you know, in the way I conducted myself is that I believe it should be done here at the table, and I don't have interest in being away from here and a lot of phone calls with individuals. I think we need to be open and discuss at the table, that's what we're here for.
But I would like to make a comment. We had, our department heads were part of this, and they went through a methodical process. There was a rubric that was set up that they went through. And I value that it was objective, and I want to give them credit for coming forward with something, even though we are re-looking at it, because I trust our department heads, but we do have more information now, and that is.
I agree, and I also want to piggyback on that if I could, and I want to thank all our department heads that put their time in to go through this interviewing process. These are not tasks that we take easily as a council, understand that, I'm sure you can see as we're up here. We want what's best for our city as well, just as everybody else who lives here. So anybody that put the time in to go through the interview process, you know who you are out there, and I thank you for that as well, on behalf of the city.
All right, next, we have a resolution before us. We're already gonna think about Riverfront Park and all the activities there. We're being asked to approve a permit that would include 2 dates, June 6th and August 15th of 2020, with the social connection. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve the resolution number 19-19 to suspend enforcement of code section 28-4 as to alcoholic liquor only in Riverfront Park on June 6, 2020 and August 15th, 2020, beginning at 6 p.m.
Discussion?
This is a lot easier to discuss than this. You know, it's serious subject, and believe me, everybody here wants what's best for the city. But onto this, this is fun. This is fun. It's a good time. And it's one of those good things that Algonac likes to do, is just get out and have a good time with everybody, so definitely yes for me.
Our service groups can raise money for their organization by volunteering to pour, and I know we have some people that are here that have poured before at other ones, and so it helps the organizations, and they do look for 60 volunteers. They won't pay you to volunteer, but they will pay your organization. So if you'd like to volunteer for an organization, you can let them know. And there's no cost to the city for this. these two events other than the park electricity that is used. Any other comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gillis,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner,
Yes.
Mr. Bembas,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next, we are looking at, the 1929 Chevrolet fire truck that is currently held by the Algonac Clay Historical Society. It was sold to them by the city, for $1 several years ago, in fact, in 2014. And the agreement is that when they, there was a memo of understanding, and in the sales agreement that if they wanted to do something with it, that they needed to give us first chance to acquire it. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to decline the repurchase of the 1929 Chevrolet fire truck from the Algonac Historical Society, as this vehicle was never an authentic fire apparatus vehicle. It was actually a hobby kit that originally came from a hardware store. It's not street legal, and the city has no purpose for it.
Support.
Discussion.
If I may be so bold, do we know, has the Historical Society plan on selling it to somebody else? Do you know what they're gonna do with it?
We've had inquiries
Okay.
about, purchasing it, not for any big amounts of money, $200
I
possibly.
figured that, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But it's been sitting in our park out there the last couple of years, and we store it in the wintertime. It's been
Okay.
brought back to the annex. But at this point, we've had a couple inquiries about taking it and restoring it and trying to get it running so it could be put in parades and
Oh,
so.
wouldn't that be nice?
So we needed to either give it back to the city or you to tell us to keep it.
I got a feeling we're gonna take it.
Yeah, George.
But we're gonna say it nicely. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? It's yours.
Whether you want it or not.
Next on our agenda is to approve the contractor's application for final payment on the Washington Cole Street Road reconstruction and water main replacement. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contractor's application for final payment to Cordis Brothers Trucking, whose address is 6052 Starville in Marine City, in the amount of $34,834.06.
I'll support.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner,
Yes.
Mr. Bembas,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Mr. Gillis,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next, we're being asked to approve the emergency roof repairs that were made to the Customs building. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve payment to Zimmer Roofing, whose address is 1621 11th Avenue, Port Huron, Michigan, for emergency roof repairs to the Customs building in the amount of $1,360.
Support.
Discussion? The city owns the building, but the Walpole Island Ferry pays rent for the building, but we need to upkeep the roofing. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Stoneburner,
Yes.
Mr. Bembas,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Mr. Gillis,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next, we're being asked to approve accounts payable and payroll. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion we approve accounts payable and payroll in the amount of $170,579.34 as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Stoneburner,
Yes.
Mr. Bembas,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Mr. Gillis,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
motion carries.
Mrs. Gerstenberg, what items do we have for our next agenda?
January 7th, we will have repairs for the leaf vac, possibly introduction of an amendment to the blight ordinance, Board of Review reappointments for Mr. Bailey and Mr. Goodman, Approve the MDOT performance resolution for right-of-way access, and approve the 2020 poverty guidelines for board of review. And auditor's report presentation. That's all.
And we have the appointment to
Oh,
Planning Commission.
also.
Thank you. All right, council comments. Councilman Martin.
Well, on a somber note, I want to recognize the loss of a valued member of our community, and that's John Woods. And on a positive note, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a very positive New Year.
Okay. Councilman Blair.
I thank everybody for coming out tonight. Sometimes these decisions as council need to be made for the best of everybody involved. Second, I want to give a shout out to anybody that helped with the ferry situation that we had. I know our neighboring communities, Clay Township, Harson's Island Ferry, I'm sure everybody heard, had a problem where it wasn't running. I believe there's a bunch of hands that pitched in to get people back and forth across who lived on the island, and it came over here. I don't know who was involved from our community, but I'm sure there was quite a few. My hats go out to you guys as a neighboring community that we can jump in and help. Shout out to everybody who, you know who you are and who helped. Second off, Christmas is around the corner. I believe just about a week away. Hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. Happy New Year, safe, happy holiday, and pray for another that big snowstorm doesn't hit us in the morning, all right? All right, thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem Gillis.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, and you know, every time something comes before this table, it's very difficult. And it's even more difficult when you receive paperwork during the meeting to try to make a educated decision. So that's my reason for wanting to table or postpone that decision. Welcome to Physical. Looking forward to coming over and seeing your facility. And everybody, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, I got a whole bunch of stuff, so. I'd like to thank everybody who came to our Christmas home tour. We had over 35 people show up, $185 going to the Algonac Food Bank. And I told you it looked different than how we did it. And just found out the Boy Scouts are having their annual Chili Fest January 8th. I know Kathy Doe makes one heck of a chili, and I know she'll probably be there. I'll be there making chili, and anybody else.
I'll eat.
You're gonna be eating the chili?
I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
Rich Hartman is the person you contact. And then on January, I forget now, January 11th, when is the 80s?
January 11th.
Yeah, it's the 80s dance, and I know you can buy tickets from me, from Rocky, from Gail, from Denise, and Scoreboard and more, and Terry, I'm sorry, Terry. And on a personal note, I'd like to thank Tom Chauvin and Leah Yax and Regina Inns. Those are the people who rented a fishing boat because the ferry wasn't running to take the mail and all the packages across and run that Arson post office. We actually had approval, you know, not to open that post office till the ferry was working, but my 3 dedicated employees, Leah Yax is an employee, she just did it to help us. Got that mail over on a fishing boat, got all the mail delivered, and kept that post office open. Put in a lot of their own time, money and effort to do that. And that's something that UPS and FedEx don't do because they don't live here in Algonac like I believe and they do. So I just wanted to put a shout out to them to watch the tape at home and see that I care about it.
Thank you. I don't know if anybody else saw the article in online. It was about our community college. It is the #1 community college in Michigan for return on investment, so your money is well spent when you go to SC4. That's quite an accomplishment when you look at all the community colleges that we have within the state. want to thank Jill and Mike Bembas for once again opening their home, not only for us to enjoy Christmas, but to do something wonderful for our food pantry. But we'd like to make it bigger and better next year. So if you have an interest in decorating your home and be part of a tour possibly, contact Mike. But there is talk about that. So we really would like something more to happen. I would like to thank Physical Therapy for being our sponsor for our Santa Parade this year. That was wonderful. There were wonderful gifts for our two winners. And Algonac Alive is a big part of, an organization that's a big part of the different events that happen in our community. And we're always looking for members. So if you work in Algonac or you live in Algonac, please consider joining our group. Ask any one of us and we can tell you when we're gonna meet, because we're always looking for more ideas and more things to do. Also, it's that time of year where we're looking for the Citizen of the Year and the Business of the Year for Algonac. So if you have someone in mind, there are applications here at City Hall that you can fill out. And then at a later meeting, we will sit down and go through a process and figure out who will be the grand awardees for in 2020. Also, community dinner tomorrow night at the First Evangelical Lutheran Church. It's all the congregations come together, but 5 o'clock tomorrow night, and it's soup and sandwiches. It's comfort food night, so that will be wonderful. I want everybody to have a very happy, merry Christmas, New Year, and most importantly, make it safe. Also, thank you to our law enforcement and first responders that are out there, because that's a tough time to be out there and be away from your families, and they're there for us and for our safety. Also, thank you to the Goodfellows for all they do. I know a lot of work's going to be going on tomorrow that we'll be part of, and we couldn't have a wonderful Christmas in our community without our Downriver Goodfellows. And remember, when you have a choice, choose kindness. It goes a long way, especially this time of year. And with that, I would like a motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna get that too.
I bet I will.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Oh goodness, I didn't even have to ask for the second this time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We're adjourned.
We'll see you guys at this